Hello and welcome to Afghanistan News Today. Today is Monday, the 30th of December 2024. Asif Durrani, the interim government must clarify their position on TTP and Pakistan. Asif Durrani, a former Pakistani envoy to Afghanistan, stated regarding the recent conflicts that the interim government must choose between the Tarakai Interim Government Pakistan (TTP) and Islamabad. According to the report, Durrani added in an article on Monday, 10th of JD 1403, that the recent security and political tensions between Kabul and Islamabad have placed the interim government in a critical position to clarify their stance towards Pakistan. The diplomat noted that by supporting TTP, the interim government are intervening in Pakistan's internal affairs. He also urged the Pakistani government to reassess its policy towards the interim government. Yesterday, Durrani had also stated that the interim government should learn from Pakistan's recent airstrikes on the Baramulla district of Paktika province. In his article, Durrani emphasized that the interim government are broadly and comprehensively supporting TTP and have provided shelter to members of this group. This comes at a time when the interim government denied the presence of TTP in Afghanistan and consider the insecurity in Pakistan to be an internal issue of that country. In a new report, the interim government, through their foreign minister Malawi Amir Khan Mataki, recently reached out to Syria's government to congratulate the victory of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS and express interest in establishing diplomatic ties. Despite the historical alliance between HTS and Al-Qaeda and the interim government's similar ideological foundations, HTS has distanced itself from the interim government's model of governance. The interim government sees HTS as an opportunity to gain international recognition and bolster their regime's legitimacy. They believe that HTS, a Sunni Islamist group, may align with their governance style even if it faces resistance from Western countries. Although the Syrian government has not yet recognized the interim government, they hope that establishing ties with HTS might help open doors to international recognition. Qatar is likely influencing the interim government's approach, as it has supported the rise of HTS due to its ties with the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar aims to secure international legitimacy for the new Syrian government and rally support for it. The interim government's alignment with HTS could strain relations with Iran, which perceives HTS as a sectarian threat. Iran is concerned about the interim government's growing ties with HTS, particularly in light of HTS's critiques of Tehran. However, this could give the interim government leverage in Syria, especially if tensions rise between Syria and Iran, with countries like Turkey and the US potentially using the interim government as a tool in this geopolitical struggle. In a report from Afghanistan News Today, Iran expresses concern over construction of Pashtun Dam in Herat. Isa Bigdazada, spokesperson for the Ministry of Water Industry of the Islamic Republic of Iran, has expressed concern following the interim government's announcement regarding the construction of the Pashtun Dam in Herat. According to IRNA news agency, Bigdazada said on Monday, 10th of JD, that the filling of the Pashtun Dam would reduce the natural flow of the Herat River. He claimed that the dam's water diversion could cause social and environmental damages in Mashhad, Iran. Bigdazada added that this unilateral action, besides causing environmental harm, would affect the drinking and sanitation water supply for millions of people in Iran. He emphasized that the people of Herat and Mashhad live in the same watershed, and any pressure on one group will have a broader impact on both. He further stated the Islamic Republic of Iran has repeatedly lodged official protests through diplomatic channels regarding the negative cross-border impacts of Afghanistan's interim government's unilateral dam-building activities in the Herat Basin. Iran has called for joint cooperation to assess and reduce these impacts and to choose sustainable development over destructive development. The Pashtun Dam is located in the eastern part of Herat in the district of Karak. Construction of the dam began during the previous government but was halted due to interim government attacks on security outposts protecting the project. The interim government announced in 4th of December this year that 80% of the dam's construction had been completed and that it would soon be operational. The interim government resumed work on the Pashtun Dam in the month of April this year. During a visit to Herat, Abdul Ghani Baradar, the interim government's deputy prime minister for economic affairs, inaugurated the completion of the remaining sections of the dam. In another report from Afghanistan News Today, Iranian MP, the interim government acts as a threat to Iran. Abulfazl Zerawand, a member of the Iranian parliament, criticized supporters of full relations with the interim government, stating that the interim government poses a threat to Iran. He pointed out that the interim government is facing internal divisions and that the group's officials in Kabul show little commitment to agreements. Abulfazl Zerawand, a member of the Iranian Parliament's Security and Foreign Policy Commission, said, "Water is a strategic component in Iran's relations with Afghanistan." He emphasized that the interim government, with the help of some countries, continues its dam construction projects to put pressure on Iran. The Iranian MP acknowledged that Iran should prioritize strategic components when defining its relations with any country, noting that the issue of water has not been considered a primary strategic element in Iran's relations with the interim government. Zerawand further stated that Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Qatar are competitive countries to Iran and have assisted the interim government in managing water resources and dam construction in Afghanistan to exert pressure on Iran. Regarding the need for new agreements on water with the interim government, he said, "The interim government has not yet been recognized by the international community and lacks proper identity. Due to internal disagreements, they have little commitment to agreements." The Iranian parliament member also emphasized that Afghan migrants in Iran could be a significant factor in relations with the interim government, which should be carefully examined. While he did not specify how this examination would be carried out, it is inferred that he suggested Iran might use Afghan migrants as leverage against the interim government. This comes as the Islamic Republic, despite the interim government's 3-year control of Afghanistan, has sought to maintain relations with the group. Iran has handed over its embassy and consulates in Afghanistan to the interim government's representatives and has maintained close relations with some interim government officials during this period. Thanks for being with Afghanistan News Today. Till the next latest news, have a good time. Goodbye.